Outlast was one of the best horror games of 2013, and this is my review. In Outlast, you are Miles Upshur, a reporter who gets an anonymous email about Mount Massive Asylum. The game starts with Miles driving up to the asylum with a radio playing in the background. I bet that ties into the story at some point, if only it didn't have the audio quality of the kids' mics and the Xbox game chat.
Dude, you better stop yelling. Your mom's gonna get mad at you.
Don't even Mom!
I'm pretty sure you don't have one because he left you. I bet you.
This is the setup for the entire game. You'll find a lot of documents throughout the game, but this one is the most important. This is one of the best looking scenes in Outlast. The way the warm lights warm up with the contrast of the darks. It is truly beautiful. You walk up to the main doors and they are locked. You didn't think it'd be that easy, did you? You go around the other side and there's another door. It's locked. Are you fucking surprised? Anyways, you have to climb the scaffolding to get inside the asylum. But while we are here, I might as well tell you that this game had a lot of popularity from people like PewDiePie and the Let's Playing community. Sadly, that didn't last that long. It only lasted from 2013 to 2015, and now the game has slowly died. But all that being said, it makes me question why PewDiePie is at the top right now.
That's pretty cool. It reminds me of that scare and fear when you go down the ladder or whatever. No, I don't know why. I wonder if I can die from jumping.
Besides that, you climb in and it looks so peaceful until the lights go out. Here you are introduced to your night vision. The night vision works well with you until you realize the green tint makes it hard to make out enemies. Also, I can't wait to lose my camera midway through the game for a brief period of time so it can set up a cheap jump scare. Then the game hits you with your first jump scare. This is scary, but it's very cheap. Did I mention there are batteries? Instead of having a camera that lasts longer than 8 minutes, you brought a fucking 2005 camera that was probably $25 and made by some unknown brand. But back to the point, your camera needs batteries and you can find them scattered across many areas. Personally, I only ended up running out of batteries once in the entire game and I died shortly after, which, for some reason, gives you a new battery or recharges the one you already have. You find a document, but at this point in the game, it means nothing, but it has some nice setup if you've played the game before. You walk down the hallway and the door just closes. This wasn't supposed to be scary, but it did put me on edge. So as you heard this guy, while he was impaled, say, the variants got out, but I was so on edge, this is all I heard.
Sister lost her virginity again, but this time she left it on her boyfriend's cock in the barn, and her birthday's coming up yesterday, so I got her a little self-portrait that this nigga drew, but this nigga drew it in Spanish. Like, how the fuck she gonna understand that shit? Like, that's why I don't fuck with Mitchell Musso, you know what I'm saying?
Little pig.
This is the introduction to the first variant you find, Chris Walker. Now you pass out briefly from hitting the ground and you wake up to some guy trying to recruit you to his cult.
And who are you, then? I see. Merciful God, you have sent me an apostle. Guard your life, son. You have a calling.
You are tasked to get access to the security system. You wander on the first floor of the asylum, you find a few documents, pass by a guy in a wheelchair, grab the key card, and go back to the security room. On the way back, the guy in the wheelchair spooks you.
Guys, if you're like me, then that means you're a...
Ugly!
No, I was gonna say...
Shut your fucking mouth! Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
You head back to the security room, and while the security system is loading, you can see to your right that the priest is turning off the main breaker in the basement. You then hear a door open and close, so you hide in your lockers and wait it out. Now, I think it is a good time to mention the AI in Outlast. It can be buggy sometimes, but mostly it is very good. The AI isn't just scary when it's free roam, though. The AI will almost always check the locker or hiding spot next to you and leave your hiding spot alone. Unless they see you go into your hiding spot. If they see you do that, then they will hunt you down. I also just want to briefly mention this part in the game is very calm and relaxed compared to later parts in the game. Bringing it back full circle, you go into a maze-like area with 2 generators and a main breaker lever. You do all this while one of the variants is chasing you. After this, you can go back to the security room and get out of the asylum. Well, not exactly.
I'm sorry, my son. I didn't want to have to do this to you. But you can't leave. Not yet. There is so much yet for you to witness. Will you see it? Can you? Our Lord, the Wall Rider, tearing his truth into the unbelievers. The only way out of this place is the truth. Accept the gospel, and all doors will open before you.
You wake up in a prison cell. Not the first time this has happened with a night of using drugs. You write a note to yourself saying that, and I quote, Dr. Warnicki was at the center of whatever went wrong here, but he died more than 10 years ago. This is strange, but this doesn't tie into the story that much at this point in the game. After a very cheap jump scare, you break out of the main prison block. You are tasked with exiting the asylum through the showers.
They weren't experiments. They were rituals. A conjuring.
After multiple chase scenes, you press the button to open the decontainment room, but instead of being rewarded for doing all that work, Chris Walker shows up and you have a few seconds to go up through the vent before he breaks the glass. After that horrific scene, you find out Chris Walker had followed you and you go into another very quick chase scene. Shortly Also, I have mentioned Chris Walker a few times in this video. He is one of the most popular and well-known characters from Outlast. He follows you around almost the entire game.
Wake up, 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 wake up.
This caught me off guard because Outlast lured me into a false sense of security by doing this. The last one of these I did with the same circumstances, nothing happened. So it tricks your brain into thinking that nothing will happen every time, and Outlast abuses this to its fullest. You then descend into the sewers to find Chris Walker battling the tyrant from Resident Evil 2.
Welcome to Demon Fight ที่นี่นะครับเขาเดินมาเจอกันแล้วครับไททันเห็นแล้วครับนี่กระโดดโอ้โหจะสังเกตว่าคริสจะต่อยไททันกระเด็นนะผู้ชมโอ้โหคริสจะเดินถอยหลังไปก้าวหนึ่งทุบเอาละครับจังหวะนี้ยังไงโอ้
But seriously, this sewer part just gives me deja vu from the first part of the game. Literally has you turn on two things and one big thing. Come on, Red Barrels, because you thought of something better. You have another very quick chase scene with Chris Walker. I swear to God, if there's one more chase scene with Chris Walker, I will fly you into the male ward. You keep following the blood-ridden sewers, and you end up in a room with a person tied to a chair.
One of them, are you? Quick, get in the dumbwaiter if you want to live.
You made the right choice here, buddy. Hey, you're that bullshit priest's guy, aren't you? As a witness or whatever, you must be exhausted. Let's take a break, huh, buddy? The old 2-martini lunch? Have a little confab, blah, blah. Heavier than you look. A little cardio wouldn't kill you. Okay, here we go. Arms and legs inside the car at all times. You know, I love the mountain air up here at night. You want to head out and take a stroll? Go ahead, I'll wait here. Go on, run free. I'm in no hurry. No? All right. Nose to the grindstone, I like that. Okay then, right this way. You're putting that tongue to any use anyway. Truth be told, I was just tired of licking my own stance. Here we are, then. Thanks so much for coming by. We'll begin your consultation in a moment. It'll just need a second to wash up and, movies. And it'll give us a chance to talk. You know, I'm a bit worried how much time you've been spending with Father Martin. I hope you haven't been letting him confuse you with all this holier-than-thou Bible thumping. No offense to the man, but I sometimes worry he might just be a little bit crazy. It's understandable. When people get scared, there's like to turn to God as everything else. You know, God died with the gold standard. We're on to a more concrete faith now. You have to rob Paul to pay Peter. There's no other way. Murder in it is the simplest form, but what happens when all money's gone? Well, money becomes a matter of faith. And that's what I'm here for. To make you believe. You paying attention? Don't pass that on me. There's so much for you to absorb. There. Better now, right? You understand how we achieved here? We made the consumer into the means of production. This thing is gonna sell itself.
So that scene was, personally for me, hard to sit through. I was really nervous the entire time this scene was going on. But that was Richard Trager. After this, you go on a chase scene with him for a long while. That chase scene drags on for too long, and even longer if it's your first playthrough. I can say it would probably be pretty easy on a second playthrough, though.
I'm fucking dead, dude. I'm fucking dead, dude. I'm fucking, yeah. There's nothing I...
Anyways, you end up being harassed by him for another while before you get into the elevator.
I'm not giving up on you!
sad sight to see. I loved Richard Trager and wish they didn't kill him off so early, but in memory of him, can we talk about his character design? His character design is some of the best I've ever seen. I don't think The Last of Us, which was released the same year as Outlast, had anything this stylized. He had some wires on his arm, no shirt, and a horrific yee-ass haircut, if I've ever seen one.
What's up? Can a low come up in your crib? Man, fuck you. I'll see you at work. Oh, nigga, don't hate me because I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee-ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick. Oh, better yet, maybe Tanisha will call your dog ass if she ever stop fucking with that brain surgeon, the lawyer she fucking with, nigga. What?
Then the priest tells you to meet him outside, except I forgot to start my recording, so there's no footage for this part. But this part coming up is the best looking scene in Outlast, and the best fire I've seen from a 2013 game. Here, take a look. Replay that clip. Is that parkour in a horror game? The parkour in Outlast can be dog shit sometimes. I mean, I tried to jump, but it just doesn't work. Or I miss a jump that I feel I should have hit. I don't know if I'm just bad at the game or not, so take this claim with a grain of salt. You go on another fucking chase scene with Chris Walker, and you've got to turn on 2 water valves, then press another button to activate the sprinklers. Sound familiar? I fucking hate Chris Walker. Then you get jumped by a British person. So now you have access to the courtyard, and you end up walking around and find a key to the maintenance shed. You unlock the shed and... So that was the Wall Rider. That was mildly scary, but was such a cheap and lackluster introduction to the shape-shifting, magic, unstoppable entity. And you ended up running away from it. I do not like this introduction at all. And in case you didn't realize that's the Wall Rider, Miles writes a note to himself saying, and I quote, "God help me, I think I've seen the Wall Rider," end quote. Then you get to the other sector of the courtyard and do some platforming and end up getting into a sector of the courtyard that Chris Walker is inhabiting. But luckily that doesn't last too long. You enter back into the asylum and Father Martin is nowhere to be found. Instead, you are forced to head into a laundry of some sorts, before you hear some sort of enemy that I presume to be Chris Walker. So I can't wait to lose my camera midway through the game for a brief period of time so it can set up a cheap jump scare.
No! What do you want, Redfield?
Why did you drop your only source of lighting, you fucking baboon? Go get it, you idiot.
Lucky now you got 2 fingers chopped off, but you need to get your camera now, or else you will get fucked by Chris Walker.
Seriously though, every horror game needs you to lose your source of light at some point.
I need to get my camera back.
Tell me.
So you drop your camera into the deep shit, just to end up getting it back 5 minutes later to set up a very cheap jump scare. I just hope my camera is okay. Never mind, it's cracked and constantly glitching. This annoyed the shit out of me, because it was a very cheap way to set up a couple of jump scares, and I don't even know what the purpose of the crack served except to be a pain in your ass. You run into Chris Walker shortly after an escape through a vent. And you finally end up on the other side of where you were in the beginning of the game. Back when you get thrown out of the window by Chris Walker. You keep walking and this patient tells you the key to the house of God is in the theater behind the light. You go into the theater and get chased for the last part of it. But the most important part was this interview with Dr. Warnicki.
Recorded December 27th, 1985 in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Clearance Sierra Alpha. Subject Dr. Rudolph Wernicke, 14866.
The films are real.
There was no alteration to the footage at all? No trickery?
None.
In June of 1943, you recorded 3 instances of spontaneous bleeding. Half a dozen test subjects began to develop brain tumors?
Yes. The autopsies revealed that the tumors were pure lead.
It killed them? Can you explain why the results could not be reproduced in the United States?
I have my theories. My homeland in those years. It's impossible to understand the things we felt, what we believed. The overwhelming fear, ecstatic rage, and English words are insufficient. More than hope. A human mind in that environment is capable of extraordinary things.
You're saying the experiment needed...
The proximity to death, to overwhelming madness. Only a test subject who had witnessed enough horror was capable of activating the engine.
Do you believe your test subjects achieved something supernatural?
No.
Do you think that they contacted something supernatural?
Nothing is supernatural.
Then what was it? You said Project Wallrider was a gateway. A gateway to what?
Anyways, you go into the house of God and you see Father Martin nailed to a cross with a key for you to use on the elevator to finally escape Outlast.
Am I ready? You are. We will join the Wall Rider in just a moment. My Job, you alone shall escape the Talva. This is your penultimate act of witness. The promise of the prophets was always freedom from death. And here it is. You will watch and record my death, my resurrection. And together we will be free. You are no longer in any danger. I fixed the elevator. It will take you to freedom. We will all of us be free. Now, my son.
You head down into the elevator, but did you think the game would be over? But why did you think it would be over? We still haven't even uncovered what all the documents in the game have been building up to. So you end up riding the elevator down and you wind up in a salt mine. Alone, but the lights are on, just no one is around. Which almost makes me more uneasy. So you find the scene from the beginning of the game and the cameras, then you just explore the salt mine, find a few batteries, until you get to the long hallway. You reach the end of the hallway and the wall rider appears. I was honestly kind of sad about the death of Chris Walker. But he didn't die for no reason. Seeing a behemoth like Chris Walker being torn apart in a matter of seconds, only to realize Chris Walker was just trying to stop people from escaping, and even saving some from a fate worse than death. I know I've said this a lot, but this time I really mean it. Seeing Chris Walker being killed made me genuinely scared of the Wall Rider. So the doctor that supposedly died 10 years ago is still alive and tells you to kill Billy.
I am supposed to be dead. No such luck. I am older than sin, but somehow the only one left. Because of Billy. He takes care of me. He may think I'm his father. He certainly loves me, the poor idiot. You know what this represents? It holds for nanohazard. Microscopic machines. Technology we have had for decades but never mastered. Murkoff discovered in my research a workaround. Turning the cells in the human body into nanofactories. It's the natural function of cells to produce molecules, but through psychosomatic direction, we engineered the precise molecules necessary. Mind over body. It was foolish and wrong to think we could control it. To use madmen to make something so strong. You have to stop him, to murder Billy. Turn off his life support, his anesthesia. You have to undo what I've done. No one can get out of this place while he lives. You must kill him.
You have the start of your final tasks. Find Billy in the lab. After walking to the lab, you can see Billy in a glass dome of some sorts. Then you are tasked with turning off the valve for the life support fluid reservoir. So you turn it off, and now you're going to cut off the electric supply from the sub-lab generator. Then you go back to jump over and then you are tasked with your very last objective, to get out.
Left, right,
You have become the host.
Jesus God, what is that thing?
I loved this game. It had a few flaws, glitches, bugs, and unfair mechanics, but I loved a lot about this game. Especially when dying, it recharges your batteries to make it not hell to get through certain sections. Very generous checkpoints. There's only none, maybe even one time when the checkpoints felt unfair. It would be my favorite game of 2013 if The Last of Us didn't exist. Also, this game brought a lot of originality with it. The camcorder, night vision, the enemies. It's fucking amazing. Also, the ending to this game really filled into the gap that the Walrider was an unstoppable being. And honestly, I'm glad Miles died in the last scene. If he hadn't, I don't think the game would have been as good. However, there are a few problems that I'll get into later. Besides that, though, the game is not over. In May of 2014, Red Barrels released a DLC for Outlast named Outlast Whistleblower, which was meant to be a prequel and a sequel to the main story. In Outlast Whistleblower, you play as the man who tells Miles Upshur about Mount Massive Asylum, Wayland Park. The DLC starts with you waking up and, you know, just watch this for yourself.
Open those eyes. We don't have to wake up, but open your eyes. What's the matter? Somebody hit you? Here. Let me help.
Andrew, you getting these alerts?
Kind of busy here.
It sounds like real trouble. At the engine, they said Hope made a lateral ascension.
What do you hope? Shit. They're not happy about it?
No.
Shit. Shit. Come on.
Now you can briefly see one part of the video that we saw way back in the main game. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I can assume it's some sort of brainwashing, brain-controlling experiment. It cuts to black and says 2 hours earlier.
They've paged for you 3 times already. There's something urgent at the engine. What are you doing in here anyway? I thought you were just a software guy.
So you were told you were needed in the morphogenic engine, so like you were told, you head there.
That sounds all right.
Christ, Waylon, hurry up. They're waiting on you.
You're cutting it close. Next patient incoming in arterial spin. Still you at the front.
I've got Gluskin out of his cell. Page him again. We need this Park guy in here now. Park, finally. Where have you been? Functional imaging interface isn't talking to the ASL. We got a patient 30 seconds out and we're blind inside his head.
Call into the chamber. Ask them to delay.
No, I don't need another performance evaluation. Mr. Park here is gonna have us up and running before we even know it. Right, Mr. Park? Are we happy, Mr. Park?
Steve? fMRI is still dark.
You're doubting our friend, Mr. Waylon Park? Which I consider more than unkind to his programming skill and considerable dedication to the Murkoff Corporation. Fuck me, they're bringing him in.
No, not again. No. Help me, they're gonna rape me. Ray! Help me! Don't let them do this! Don't let them! You! I know you can stop this! You have to help me! You have
Hey, calm yourself. This is a high security...
It's all right, Agent. Mr. Park was just surprised. I'm sure he's still calm and eager to finish his work. Take your seat. Quickly, Mr. Park. Head will need to roll if the fusion monitoring is not active when we put him in the engine. 5 seconds. 4. 3.
Arterial spin labeling is back online.
Good then.
Positioning imaging planes.
You're finished, Mr. Wayland Park. You can leave. Don't expect anything but honesty in my review of your performance.
You need to exit the room, sir.
Somebody's been telling stories outside of class.
On the floor! Down! Hands where I can see them!
Mr. Wayland Park, consulting contract 8208. Software engineer with a level 3 security clearance. Graduated cum laude from Berkeley, but still somehow not smart enough to realize that the last thing a fly ought to do in a spider's web is wiggle. Somehow dumb enough to think that a borrowed laptop, onion router, and firewall patch would be enough to fool the world's leading supplier of biometric security. Stupid, Mr. Park. More than stupid, in fact. That was crazy. I'm afraid we're going to have you committed. Mr. Park, will you willingly submit to forced confinement? Did you hear that, Agent?
He said yes, Mr. Blair.
Great. Oh, and did I just hear Mr. Wayland Park volunteer for the Morphogenic Engine program?
Well, that's what I heard, Mr. Blair.
That was brave indeed, Wayland. The Murkoff Corporation and the Onward March of Science both appreciate your bravery and sacrifice. Maybe you could administer Mr. Park here a light anesthetic.
Gladly.
Then the intro to the DLC plays. But this was pretty brutal and really shows that Murkoff is evil, in case you had any doubts. This is only the start of what torture you will endure, though. You wake up and have that video that was previously playing in an overlay-like format. You write a note to yourself that seems to have a lot more emotion than the notes you would write in the main game, such as sentences and words mentioning how he fucked up, words like Lisa, assumed to be his wife, and he's clearly scared of dying, unlike Miles, who barely talked about death, but more focused on what the fuck was going on. Eventually your door unlocks and you head back into the lab to find that everything is overrun, and that overlay-like image appears on your screen again. Then you have no option but to go into this one room.
R.I.P. Big Tom. Come to join our therapy session. Here, take the blade. Dig around in our friend here. Get a little red on your hands. It's always healthy to express yourself. You keep it bottled up too long and you might do something you regret. You're one of those. Too good for the likes of us. Think you're different? Something special? There are no observers here. Now, get the fuck out of here before I change my mind. Where the fuck are you trying to go? Come back here! Bad idea. We get out of here through reception, and then Merc Tactical clean it up.
If they get here in time.
We need help now. If we get them on the radio, the National Guard could be here within... We don't even know the radio works. It's shortwave. If the prison's got...
You then overhear a conversation deduce that you need to get access to the shortwave radio. Not before another vision happens.
Outside help doesn't come without outside attention. You want responsibility.
You end up pressing a button to open a decontamination room. Sound familiar? Anyways, there's a doctor stuck inside the decontamination room, and once you press the button, a few minutes later, you end up face to face with Frank Manera, who's extremely insane and one of the few characters that look like I'd see them on the side of a London road.
Round in a rover. If I see Opsin is over, I'll send man straight to Jehovah when I take shots like M. Sharapova. Doing up tennis. Call man Dennis on my menace. Doing up olives in Venice. Big man tip back bigger than Venice.
But Frank Manera is one of the reoccurring characters in Outlast that will chase you over and over again. After that, he does chase you again, but you guys have seen so many chase scenes, I don't even know why you're still watching this YouTube video. Anyways, you pick up a key for the handcuffs to use on a guy chained to a door. Not before Frank tries to chase you again. Then the game tricks you into thinking you're safe by knocking once on the door, then the knocking stops.
You stay there and cook.
After another few minutes of walking and another chase scene, holy fuck, how many chase scenes are in this game? You end up running away and go into a decontamination room for a very cheap jump scare. Then another cheap jump scare. Then you go up to this panel and it has a red light besides room 237. So I was confused and went into room 237 and nothing was there in room 237 except a vent that led me to the next room. A little confusing, but it was alright. Don't break. Don't break. The fuck you. Then, a few minutes later, you run away from Frank by hiding in the decontamination room. and you end up outside. You get up to the shortwave radio and
Leadville 911, what's your emergency?
Whalen Park. You couldn't just keep your mouth shut. You couldn't just play along. But you're done talking now. Do me a favor and die here, Park.
Shortly after that, you can see Father Martin painting the blood for miles to later follow. I like this Easter egg as it gives you more of a sense of time and also ties into the main story. Then you see that one guy in a cell, but he's a little more crazy than in the main story.
I'm not the sick one, you lying motherfucker!
Then Chris Walker ends up chasing you and you end up jumping out of a window into a load screen. Did it seriously just load me into a load screen by jumping out the window? You end up being outside again and you have to turn off the power to get rid of the power on the electric fence. You do that and it doesn't work. So you go back down and turn it off again just to get spooked. You also see a guy express his urges. You end up going through the building and make a leap of faith.
Don't need any sisters. Maybe some girls that ain't blood. You ain't old enough to be worrying about it. We have worser problems. Grow some hair on your Timmy. Then we can talk about girls. I hear something, I swear. Everybody. If we had a visit, if we did, he could be our goat. What in creation you talking about? He just likes to hear himself talk. We need a goat. There's reason here. To bear our guilt, our gender. A small piece of flesh between us and the blade. You want to give him to Gillespie. That's... A gift for the groom.
Quiet! they catch us, you give us to him. The man downstairs. The man. Very bad. Very, very bad. God. Oh, God.
Kill the rats! He's here! Inside the walls! Kill him! This idiot wants to die. There's a leak pissing down on us. There he is! What do you think? Oh, he'll do. For once, we agree. He got away! The groom will have us! Shut up! We'll find a way around. We know this ground. Don't mind hunting. Kill the rats! Those younger eyes and keep them peeled. Shut up!
So I don't know if you realized, you might have realized it midway through, but that guy was talking to himself. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous.
The first time we met, you was at the mall with your friend. I was scared to approach you, but then you came closer, hoping you would give me a chance. I knew that we would never be more than friends. The friends would fight, breaking all the rules. She like a song played again and again. Like something supposed to. Is a damn they say.
This is where the whistleblower DLC takes a massive turn. Then the guy that did that finds you and chases you. But one interesting fact is, his name is Edward Gluskin, which happens to have the same letter in his first and last name as a real-life murderer that did similar crimes.
Die.
I want you! And find me!
Oh God! Oh God, you're okay! Tell me you're okay! I hate to think you're suffering without me. Why would you do something like that to yourself? Rather die than be with me. Then die.
and then you break your leg, stumbling into a locker and hiding.
You're not what you're meant to be. This place. Smell of my love's arbor. Darling, can't hide from me. You make yourself a gift for me. A delicacy to be unwrapped and unwrapped again. Darling, I need you to try to bleed less. I know the fair sex often endure the same wounds with more suffering, but you really need to make an effort. No, I'm so sorry, darling. Love isn't for everybody. Hold still now, darling. All these unsightly hairs. Oh, silky smooth, like a little girl again. Now the more delicate bits. No! No, don't! Please! Oh, God!
You've given up. You're ugly. You've given up. You're not even worth stringing up.
Oh, God.
Bleed for you. And I. You have amazing bone structure. Such soft skin. You're going to be beautiful. A woman has to suffer some things. It's not pleasant, I know. But just try to endure. For my sake. For the sake of our children. It won't take long. A few snips at the flesh here and here. Cut away everything vulgar. A soft place to welcome my seed. To grow our family. The incision will hurt. And the conception. And birthing is never easy. I'll make the cut fast. Just close your eyes and think of your children.
Now, I think that was the most horrific scene in Outlast. But then you basically go on a hide and seek with him, which I died a fair few times because I didn't know where to go. You end up finding a wedding room with a bride mannequin who has a key on her finger.
Kissing Like all the others, don't deserve that treatment. Don't even deserve to live.
Finally get to the exit room and you are unlocking the door until
One more. I tried, and I tried. You all betrayed me. You can hang like the rest of them. Heavier than you look. If this is you on the honeymoon, I hate to imagine our anniversary. Hold still. God damn it, what are you? No! Damn it, darling! No, you need to behave! We could have been beautiful.
a great way to conclude a character in my opinion. Besides that, you end up going back to the exit and see the most beautiful thing in Outlast, Whistleblower. You end up spectating Murkoff's tactical division. Luckily, somehow they have the eyesight of a protagonist in a zombie movie, and they don't see Waylon. You end up in a similar place to where Miles was in the beginning of the game, and you can see how it all changed. You are then assaulted by one of your coworkers, but that doesn't last long.
No one can know. No one.
You end up walking out of the asylum in the most peaceful way.
You press that button. There's no going back, Mr. Park. There's enough hard evidence in that video file to make a world of shit for our friends at Murkoff. You got out of Mount Massive alive, and we've done everything in our power to cover your tracks. But our enemies are twitching and malicious corporate paranoics with resources you're too moral to imagine. You won't be the only target. Anyone you care about, your wife, your child, They'll be nothing to Murkoff but ways to hurt you. I need you to understand the bridge you're crossing here. You will do irrevocable damage to the company. You might even get close to something like justice. But once you click upload, your life is over. Everyone you love is fucked. But it's the right thing to do. Is hurting Murkoff worth that much to you?
That was a great ending to a great DLC. I loved this DLC in so many ways. They introduced new characters, updated the game a little bit, and really felt like they brought the story all the way around. Now I guess I gotta talk about Outlast now that I finished the main story and the DLC. Outlast is the 2013 game everyone forgot about. Outlast is one of the best horror games ever, and was maybe even the best horror game when it was released. This game had some of the most fluent animations for the time period. The animation Whistleblower where Edward Gluskin gets tied up. Everything about this game was amazing. The voice actors and the script they were given was extremely good. Not to mention this game showed that not everything that tries to kill you is a villain. Chris Walker just wanted to protect people from a fate worse than death. And he just wanted to save people from the Wild Rider. And the Wild Rider was a little flawed, but it was really bumped up for the ending of the game. Not to mention the AI in this game is really balanced. I played the game on normal difficulty and it was just that. It felt normal. When I died, it felt very fair. On top of that, death felt like it was always a foot away. In my mind, I didn't feel like I could get 2 slashes and 1 final kill animation. I tried my best not to get hit a single time, and it almost felt real. Thinking back to earlier in this video, the character designs for this game, texturing of Richard Trager and other variants were, in my opinion, the best character designs of 2013. But did I mention the music? There are 52 music tracks in Outlast, composed by Samuel LaFlame, not to mention just the rest of the cast. This game had so many people working on it and it was set up for success. That was a lot to talk about. This video took me a long time to make and I've remade it now for a 3rd time. This should be the last time, but if you like this video, please subscribe. Bye.